Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Future Doctor Podcast. I'm your host, Tejas, and I'm joined by my colleague, Ria, who will be the co host for today's podcast. Hello, Ria.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Awesome. So, today we are joined by another prestigious university, Charles University, second faculty of medicine, and we are joined by the amazing team of the faculty who are going to educate you about the study opportunities at the faculties. And we're going to ask them a lot of questions on behalf of the students and parents, and hoping this information will be helpful for all the students and families to make a decision and successfully apply to the faculty. So I'm going to introduce the beautiful people who have joined today. To begin with, Professor David Katlik, who is the Vice Dean for International Studies at the faculty. Professor, welcome.
Hello, welcome. I greet everybody.
Perfect, thank you. And then we are joined by Miss Vera Hall, who is with the International Studies Office at the faculty. Welcome, Vera.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here today.
Thank you. And then we are joined by Miss Anna Pekarova, who is the well-being counselor for students at the faculty. It's so good to see the faculty has a well-being counselor, which is much needed for international students. So very happy to see that. So welcome, Anna.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Pleasure. Right, so we will dive straight into it. I will hand over the forum to Ria, who has some really interesting questions for all of you. Over to you, Ria.
Thank you so much, Tejas. That was a very lovely introduction for all of us. So, to begin with, my very first question to the Charles University Second Faculty of Medicine is if you could give us a brief overview about Charles University as well as about the Second Faculty of Medicine.
Thank you very much. It's my honor and pleasure to talk about our university, which is considered the oldest university in the Central Europe, so northern of Alps and eastern of Rhine. And it has been founded in 1348, so it's really old one, but it does not tell anything about the quality. But when we talk about the ranking of the university, it belongs among the best 250 universities in the world. But concerning medical faculties, it is considered the 97th medical university in the world. So the ranking is quite good. The university had a turbulent time during history, and it has been divided after the Second World War by the Communist Party into several parts. And it remained even after we got the freedom back 30 years ago. So now we have 5 faculties of the university. 2 of them are outside of Prague in other cities, Plzeň and Hradec Králové, and 3 are in Prague. And they all teach general medicine, and they have a special way how to teach it. So the third faculty teaches something called based problem or evidence-based way. So they do not teach much subjects but topics. The first faculty is the most traditional, so they just teach subjects like anatomy, pathology, surgery. And the second faculty is a middle current in between. So we have still the subjects which are called traditionally, but the curriculum is very integrated between the subjects, and so it's a modernized way. So it's, I would say, the best middle way how to go between 2 extreme ways of teaching. So that's specific for our second faculty. It's called second just based on numbering, that some of the faculty has to be numbered 1 and some has to be number 3. So it does not talk about the history or the quality. And we are the only faculty on the left bank of the river. What is specific about our faculty is an extension in the pediatric branch. So our students can get the information about all the subjects of medicine which are extended in the pediatric branch, so they know better pediatrics, which is good for their patients, but also for their own children, which they will have in future. Moreover, we have the largest hospital in the Central Europe and the largest pediatric hospital in the Central Europe. So we have a large amount of the patient coming with the usual problems, but also with very special problems. And we have wards for transplantation of lungs and transplantation of kid hearts. We have a very specialized clinics for epilepsy, for hemato-oncology, but also for all other branches which are on a high quality. So this is in brief information about our faculty and university.
Thank you so much. It was very insightful to know this long history of the university. I'm sure it's going to fascinate all our students. My next question is about what are the facilities and infrastructure available at the campus for the students?
Hey, good afternoon again. To answer this question, I will start with the facilities we provide for the students. Speaking of the academic and educational facilities at first, our university provides a medical library, simulated clinical training, or online learning platform for the students, which was invented by our former students. And it's like online encyclopedia that they can look through, and they can they can see very detailed information about the human body, and it's very precise. On the other hand, we also provide some student services such as spiritual support in case of need, socio-economical support if they need it, some group sessions for the foreign students if they need to chat with others, actually see what others are struggling with, and so on. We also have some sports club. Students can join some basketball team, ice hockey team, or cheerleaders. We also have very good ones. And also there are some student clubs that contain of the students, such as AIMS, Association of International Medical Students, and IFMSA, International Federation of Medical Students Association. And these clubs support students through the study. They take part in some extracurricular activities and so on. So there is a wide variety of possibilities for the students that they can join here and enjoy their studies.
Wow, that's nice. Are there any specific resources or initiatives designed to support international students in adapting their academic life in Prague?
Sure. For the starters, the week before the beginning of the school year, there is a Freshers Week where they actually learn about living in Prague or Czech Republic, what the traditions are here, like how to get around the city with the public transport and so on. Can you hear us? Yes. So that would be for the starters, and then as I said, there are the student clubs, AIMS or IFMSA, or there is a student chat that is online webinar for the students with the students, so they can join the chat and they can chat together and help each other along the way.
If I can add, they have also support from the university, not only from the faculty. So they have an orientation day, and they have an orientation elective course, which is aimed at cultural differences of our country, the specificity of the food, for example, concerning the religion or the legal parts. So specific laws in the country, so they are supported by that. And we have specifically for our freshers, when they come the first semester, they have an elective course which is called medical education orientation. So we teach them how to use resources, how to study, if individually or in groups, and we give them consultations so they can also use these special times which are not first visible when the students go through the website. So these two elective courses are not on the first page, but they are what we offer, and then the students really use them much. So they can be supported also by faculty and university by these elective courses.
Thank you for adding that.
Thank you so much for that detailed answer. I'm sure it's reassuring to all our students. If you could let us know what are the unique strengths and features making studying medicine at Second Faculty of Medicine a standout experience compared to other faculties within the Charles University.
So one of them was already mentioned, and that's the pediatric dimension of the education. Then the second is that we are the smallest faculty concerning the number of group of students, although in the last year we have enlarged the number a bit, that we were surprised so many students were interested to study, and we were very happy. So we have accommodated all the things, and still we try to keep the groups small. Especially what I'm not only a vice dean but also do some education, so I teach anatomy, histology and embryology, and we have small teams concerning anatomy, so we divide each group, which is 20 students, into 4 smaller groups, so they can experience the human body during dissections and during presentation in small groups. So this is, I think, what is specific at the second, but also the third faculty, which are smaller than the first one and the others. So smaller groups of students. When it's small groups of students, it's a bit of family atmosphere. It may sound a little bit queer, but we know the students by name. We meet them in corridors. We meet them at some extracurricular activities. So it makes a closer tie to the students, and I think they also feel more responsible for what they do, because when they know each other, they try to work harder. And we also use students lecturers, so the upper year students, the most excellent of them, they help us in teaching. It can also look a bit weird that the students teach, but these are the most excellent, and they themselves went through the study process, so they know where are the obstacles, what are the problems, and they help us in this. And when you join an experienced student and an experienced teacher together, you cover all the aspects, and that's why we think it's a benefit to have also the student lecturers in our team. And I think that's it. The smaller groups, family atmosphere, and pediatric extension are the 3 highlights of our faculty.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, sir. If you could briefly explain us the year 1 curriculum and modules, how are the semester exams evaluated at the university?
Yeah, as I said, we have a bit of integrated curriculum, so we have topic lines in the curriculum. Of course, the most important is the morphology line, which means in the first year anatomy, histology, embryology. Then we have an ethic line, so from the first semester they see the patient in communication, they have nursing, they have ethics. And then we have a technical line which contains first aid and biophysics. And we have a language line, so they have a basics of Latin and Greek to understand the medical terminology. And they have basics of Czech, so they can speak to the patient then in later years. So these are the main lines. And concerning how the study is organized, so we have lectures. They are voluntary, and majority of them are also recorded, so the students can then look at them at home and review. Then we have practical trainings, which are mandatory by 80%. And then we have exams, final exams, which close the subjects, but then we have examinations during the semester, so the students get the feedback. And they are partially written tests, partially oral tests, and all these they need to pass to get the credit and to come for the exam, which is again either written or oral, depending on the subject. The students can repeat any test twice, and they have more chances to come. So if it does not fit into their schedule, they can postpone it. In case the student needs some special assessment, this has to be done before, but of course the students with special assessment like ADHD or any psychological troubles, they come and ask how and which way and when they will be examined. This is agreed ahead, and then we can work according to this individual plan. If you have any questions to that, I can give you more details.
Yeah, I have a bit of a follow-up question. So what happens if a student is not able to clear any one subject in one semester? So, how many attempts are allowed, and what is the typical dropout rate from the first year to later years? I know you mentioned about that the faculty is there to support the students to cope up with this active academics. So if you could elaborate a bit on this as well.
Yeah, the whole European community works in so-called credit system. So each subject has got a specified number of credits, and the students needs a specific number of credits to pass from the first year to the second, and then so on. So they need to get majority of the subjects in the year to pass. They can repeat any test or exam twice, so they have 3 chances to repeat it. And in case they do not get the full amount of credits, they can repeat the whole year, but they still need to get 2/3 of the credits approximately to stay at the university. And the dropout rate is very differing based on which students are admitted. So it really depends on the students. So the dropout rate used to be 60%, but in the last year it was 30% only. So it really depends on the student, and we cannot say that any nationality is prevailing in the dropout. It's just really based individually on the persons. But the students who in not a good case have to repeat and they are motivated, they get back, because sometimes they need to be accommodated to the study at the university. So they need the first semester or first year for like accommodation, but that they can get excellent marks in upper years. So it's really individually dependent, and the dropout rate really does not talk about the quality of the university, but and quality of the students overall. So it's just a number.
Absolutely, sir. I understand. Thank you for that. If you could also elaborate on clinical training opportunities offered to the students. When does this practical training begin? How much hands-on experience students are receiving? Additionally, how is clinical training conducted, and do students get chance to interact with the patients in the real medical settings?
The Central Europe, concerning also Germany, Austria, and our country, is very well known for a very deep theoretical knowledge. But this has been changed in last years, adding also the practical skills as well. We can start even with first aid and anatomy and nursing in the first year. So they see their first patient as a dead body donor in the dissection hall, but they also come for nursing to the hospital, and they talk to patients in ethics and communication. And then in the upper years, they get more of these practical ones, and the theoretical is a bit online studies and book studies. But in the last year, that's very practical. So it's hands-on from the first year. And when we talk, for example, about anatomy, we of course use dissection on real body donors and their bodies, but we use virtual anatomy table, and we use models, and we also use ultrasound. So the students practice on themselves, each other. So this is really hands-on from the first year. And then in the summer, they have some some internship for the larger subjects like surgery, internal medicine, gynecology, or field based on their own choice for 1 month in a hospital. Either the hospital they choose in their home country, or we offer them hospitals in our country, or they can use several activities supported by European Community, which is called Erasmus Plus, or the IFMSA Medical Society also offers students to go abroad in the world from Argentina to Taiwan. So these are the offers the students have if they want and if they are active. They can also come on individual basis. So if they like a subject, they just come and ask the head of the department or the clinics, please, can I come and be here during night shifts? Can I shadow you? And this is also welcome and allowed.
That's wonderful. I'm sure students are going to be really attractive to know about this. So you already mentioned about the hospitals. So if you could let us know if university has their own hospitals and if they're affiliated with any private or public other hospitals as well.
So our faculty is seated inside the hospital, and as I said, inside the largest hospital in the Central Europe. So we have our public hospital. Next to us is another small public hospital which we use, and then the students, we have some contracts with other hospitals in the country. Few of them being private, but in our country, majority of the large hospitals are public.
Noted. Thank you so much. All right. So my next question is about how do students get involved in research and what are the opportunities available for them to contribute for scientific projects?
The faculty has got its scientific conference each year. It's a 2 days occasion, and not only postgraduate students are here presenting, but also pre-graduate. And this year we had 17 international students presenting just topics in anatomy. So as you can see from the first year, the students can join our research at the Department of Anatomy, and from the upper years, from the second year, they can just join research in the subjects which they have already gone through. So in physiology as well, and continuing into clinical ones. So they are more than welcome. And in last year, we have 3 publications where the first authors are pre-graduate students published in renowned international journals. So we can see if the students is motivated, we are very happy with him or her because they are a real germs in our scientific team.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate your response on this question. Moving on, I would like to ask few questions about the admission and entrance exam process because I'm sure all the students are very curious to know them. So what are the admission requirements for international students applying to medical program, as well as are there requirements same for EU national students if they wish to study for an English taught program?
Okay, that would be a question for me. So for both international students and students with the EU nationality applying to the English taught program at our faculty, the admission requirements are the same. The student has to pass the entrance exam and if admitted, submit their secondary school education diploma, a high school diploma.
Understood, sir. Ma'am. Thank you so much. If you could also let us know about this entrance exam, what are the subjects that student have to write on? Are there any interviews that also takes place in order to get into the university?
Okay, so the as I mentioned before, the exam consists of 2 parts. One is the written part, and the second is the oral part. The written part includes 4 subjects: biology, chemistry, physics, and logic. each 20 questions except the logic, that's 15 questions. And those applicants that pass the written part will continue into the oral part. The examination committee consists of 3 faculty members. The candidate will draw a question, and for each of them, the individual member of the committee may score up to 15 points. So overall score for the oral part can be 90 points. Successful applicants are expected to demonstrate their interest in the field of study, their ability to discuss medicine-related topics, and ability to defend their opinions. And they will be, the limit for the second round, the passing rate, will be determined by the dean in January.
As I can just add, you can see that we really emphasize the oral part of the entrance exam. So we want, of course, our students to have the basic knowledge in chemistry, biology, and physics. But half of the entrance exam is the oral part. So we need the students to be really involved, to be enthusiastic, also empathic, and ready to react for stress situations. So we pose them not very nice questions. That does not mean that we are aggressive, but we ask them to give pros and cons to very hot topics in medicine. And we want the students to give us 2 different points. So for example, when we talk about euthanasia, which is something very on edge, that in some countries it is allowed, in some countries not. We just want the students to give 2 different opinions, because they will cope with the patients who wants euthanasia, who really does not want to talk about it. So it's necessary to even at the beginning to have students who have these communication abilities. That's why the oral part is a very important part of our entrance exam.
That is a really insightful information, sir. I'm sure students will prepare accordingly for the entrance exam and oral. I would also want to understand, if a student attends a preparatory course at Charles University, will they be getting any exemption from the entrance exam? Will this preparatory course helpful for students to get into the second faculty of medicine?
So the preparatory course will definitely be helpful, but student will still have to pass the entrance exam to our faculty.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. So if the students, are there any other exemptions based on students' academics or their subjects or their background of studies?
Yes, the specifics are on our website. Students can look at the details, but we offer the waivers to students who study A-levels, IBs, who do APs during their high school years. Also students that already have Bachelors of Science in medical related fields. And then a few countries in Europe.
Understood, ma'am. Thank you. I have another follow-up question to this. So in case a student has performed really well in entrance exam, they have got the offer, and now they have not performed up to the mark in their academics. So their offer still stands, or is there anything additional they have to do in order to maintain their reservation at the university?
In this case, the offer will still stand, and for us, passing the entrance examination is the important part. So yes, even if the high school grades are not the best, if the student passes the entrance exam, he will be admitted to our faculty.
Understood. Thank you so much. I'm sure that will give a lot of relief to our students. Ma'am, if you could also clarify if there are any scholarships or financial aids available for our international students.
So our faculty does not offer scholarships, but each year we about 20 best students receive the top student award, which is about 1/4 of the tuition.
Understood. So, I would also want to understand what are the accommodation preferences among the international students. Do they tend to favor on-campus hostels or they look for off-campus options?
So among the international students, they usually tend to stay on campus in the dormitories that we provide for them. There are 4 main dormitories that are covered by our university. One of them is the most favorite one, I would say. It's called Hviezda. And the first year students, they are usually accommodated in twin rooms. And once they get older in the second year and the follow-up years, they can be in the single rooms. But with this being said, there is the option to live on a student in a student house, which is not in the campus where the dormitories are. But there is still option to have their own private rooms or be in another student house, and it's all up to the preferences of the students.
Right. So we get a lot of queries from female parents, female students' parents that is Czech Republic safe? Will my daughter be safe if they study at this university, this faculty, or if they are in this area? So if you could throw some light on this aspect as well.
Sure, gladly. I would start with saying that Czech Republic is one of the top 15 safest countries in the world. So that's, I would say that's a big point. Whether you're sending your daughter or your son to the Czech Republic. And then there's also a combination of some legal measures, law enforcement, and community support for women, men, or queer people as you wish. And you really don't need to feel endangered in this country.
That will be a lot of relief for our parents. Moving on, I would like to know about if you could explain us about the process of the students who wish to pursue postgraduate at Charles University, second faculty, or any other part of Europe. What are the options available for them?
Concerning the postgraduate studies, it is opened at universities in Czech Republic to anybody. It's not based on their previous education. So if the students studied their medical university outside Europe, they have the same chance as the students from inside. But if the students study our medical school and join the research in the upper years, then it's of course a big benefit, and it's usually the place given to these students when they ask to continue for the postgraduate studies. And the same is valid for the European community. The students can apply easily from any country of the world. So they are at the same starting line as the other ones. Of course, just to complete the information, that we offer several postgraduate positions each year in different positions, starting with my anatomy, continuing across neurosciences, pediatrics, internal medicine, biology, immunology, molecular biology, to all the clinical fields like surgery, gynecology. So the students can really choose the field of their interest.
Right. Thank you. If you could also let us know what are the steps that graduate students need to follow to obtain licensure to practice medicine in Czech Republic or other EU countries.
So the studies at our faculty both university and specialization of doctors already comply with the minimum educational requirements in the EU. So graduate must submit an application for admission to the Czech Medical Chamber, and that is about it. So maybe Professor Kachlik can give more information about that.
Yeah, they just need to pass then a language exam. But when the students decide to stay in the country and they study the Czech language for 6 years, then it usually takes like maximum half a year for them to pass the Czech language exam. And in the other countries, our diploma is valid across EU, but is also valid in US, in Japan, Korea, Australia, and all the other countries. So that's not a problem. And concerning these countries, it really depends on the regulation of each the country itself. But generally, in the European community, they can start to work with our diploma directly.
Understood, sir. If you could also let us know, for students aiming to practice in UK or USA in particular, how does the faculty support them in preparing for the licensure exams like UKMLA or USMLE?
So while the second faculty does not offer any preparation courses for the UKMLE or USMLE, the faculty's curriculum aligns with the knowledge and the clinical skills required for both licensure exams, which helps students succeed in their journey towards becoming licensed medical professionals in the UK and the USA. Our graduates are well prepared for the USMLE exam. Their passing rate in the past 2 years was 100%. So they're very well prepared.
I'm glad to hear that, ma'am. So since we are coming to end of this conversation, if you could let us know what is an average cost of living in Czech Republic, all inclusive from their accommodation, transport, other activities and everything. So all inclusive, how much are students able to spend at the on-campus university accommodations?
I'll be happy to answer that question. So the cost of living in Czech Republic or in Prague here at the university, it varies depending on the lifestyle of the student. So they can spend as much money as they are available for. But usually the average cost of living in Czech Republic is somewhere in between 600 to 800 euros per month. Also depending if they choose to live at a dormitory, which would cover 250 euros per month, although they pay for daily sleeping over there. So it also depends if they, on their plan and schedule as they schedule it ahead of them. But to live comfortably in Prague, which we must say is the most expensive city in Czech Republic, as it is its capital, it would be, having some activities in the afternoon, maybe visit cafes or exhibitions, museum, would be 20,000 Czech crowns, which, as I said, is about 800 euros monthly. To have a, nice, not to be the modest one, but still to enjoy a little around and not to be in much of a stress.
I would add that we have one of the best world transportation system in Prague, and it's very cheap, very, very cheap and safe. So this is one of the advantages, and of course the part where the students can save the money because it's very cheap.
Well, then I would add up that they can also cycle around. There are some bicycles for rent, as is quite popular among the European cities in the moment.
Right. So we're coming end to this questionnaire, and I have one final.
But we have also a place for them to eat here, which is also very good and cheap. And it was open just this year for the students in full extent, and it's crowded with the international students. And the cost of the meal there is I have to count it. It's some 3 euros, 3 or 4 euros per one meal. So it's also cheap for them, and it's just in the building on the campus. So sorry to interrupt you, but the costs can be low if the students want.
Absolutely, sir. That is great to know. Right. So we are coming to end of this questionnaire submitted by the students, and my final question is: how do you envision the future of medical education at Charles University Second Faculty, especially with the ongoing advancement in technology and medicine?
I think that second faculty tries to follow the pace of this development. As I have mentioned in anatomy, we are using the virtual anatomy table, and we are using the applications for the students, the ultrasound. In clinics, we have an robotic Olympic games, so the students can themselves even train on the robots which are used in neurology. So these are two examples that even the medical education uses the last innovative and developed instruments and processes in medicine. And I think we will also work with the AI in the near future in our education process as well.
Thank you so much, sir. So, what would be the final advice to our students who are planning to join university?
So I think every of us can tell something. I would just to say that please come to a place which is a good place to live, good place to study. Prague is very international one, very safe place, and the teachers here are dedicated to what they do. So I think it would be a nice place to spend next 6 years to get your medical degree.